Welcome to Whispers to a Bride, where we talk about the stuff no one else is talking about. We are going deep on the emotional aspects of getting married, the stress, drama, and turbulence that affects your own sense of identity and your closest relationships. We are talking about what it means to be a bride and how to navigate this sacred time with more grace and ease. I'm your host, Kara Gassabay. As a life coach and therapist, I'm going to be sharing super practical tips so that you can not only rise to the occasion of your wedding, but also your life. Hello, and welcome to another episode. Today, we are talking about detail drama. I am sure if you have been planning your wedding for more than a minute, you have noticed how sort of much emphasis is put on the details, right? Seems to be almost a signature aspect of the bridal experience to get mired down in the details. There are just so many details. And when you really think about a wedding, if the whole idea is just two people getting married, besides that, everything else is just details. So we're talking details like from the embossing on your escort card to the venue itself, from the hanger that your dress will be on during your getting ready to the type of ceremony you're going to have. Like the details are big and small. And there's a lot of them when it comes to a wedding. That's one of the reasons that we get sort of this detail drama. The sheer number of decisions that you have to make is, again, one of the biggest problems and causes of detail drama. But I think the bigger problem, besides just like the magnitude of it, is it's really disconcerting when you feel like in your regular real life, you're good at making decisions, but suddenly as a bride, you're like not good at it, or you're really stressed about it, or you're really insecure about it and driving yourself nuts about it. That's why this whole like bridezilla thing really like sort of comes into the consciousness, because it can make you sort of feel crazy and then act crazy. But we think the bridezilla concept is problematic because it doesn't really get to like, well, why? What's really going on? What's really at play and what's really at stake when we are sort of floundering in all of these decisions and all of these details. And again, a lot's going on. Let's just remind ourselves there is the once in a lifetime ness of it, right? This concept that like you get one shot at this, unlike birthdays or holidays that are going to come around, right? This year didn't go great, but we can do it again. You don't have that with your wedding day. It's one and done. And so that ups the ante a lot. There's the part of you that imagined it for so long and the details would be like this. And you just have all these concepts, the expectation that comes into it. Then there's just like the time and the money, right? Those are huge constraints that can really make your decision making that much harder because, oh, I would decide this if I had the time to do it, or I would decide that if I had the money to do it, or all of that. Or I have the money, but my choice doesn't align with their choice. So maybe they don't want to pay for, right? All the politics of that. And then there's just that, again, all of the people involved, right? This is one of the few times you're doing things for a larger audience usually than in your regular life, so that all those opinions, they can echo in your mind and make you really stumble and have a hard time deciding on some of these details because you keep thinking about like, how are they going to land with other people? And are they going to impress? And are they going to like, is it going to be worth it? And are they going to appreciate it? All of that can take you on a whole road to nowhere. And then there's just the stake of wanting to love it forever and wanting it to be a decision that you can always be proud of and be details that really mean something to you in the future. And that can be really hard to project out what you're going to love and care about in the future. And so those are just some of the pressures that are kind of swirling around you in this moment that you're trying to decide on these details, how you want this event to look and feel and go, that can make it really hard. But I think that like, even given all of that, underneath, I think there's a deeper factor at play that really is what kind of makes us feel really anxious or really depleted or depressed or overwhelmed or not like ourselves. It makes us feel like we're not the competent women that we are in our other part of our life. And that's because inside all these details, we're looking for that reflection back of who we are. It harkens back to the identity crisis that is happening when you get married. There's no way around it. Your life is changing as an individual, and also your identity as a couple, going from dating, engaged to married. Those are changes in your status. And for different couples, it'll mean different things. And I think a lot of times these days when we're like, oh, well, we live together and we've been dating and da da da, so it's not going to change. And then they actually go through the getting married and things do change and things do feel different in ways that they didn't expect. And that's what today, I really just am feeling this. It's really clicking for me even more the more people I talk to. It's like there's all this stuff happening. And then under it, there's these things. But then under that, it's really, to me right now, it's feeling like we cannot overstate the identity stuff that's going on. And when you're in this time of change, everything is up in the air and you're kind of swirling. Your feet aren't planted on the ground in your sense of who you are and where you locate yourself in your life. It's natural for that to be sort of in upheaval during this getting married time. And while that's okay, we kind of really want to feel like ourselves and to feel ourselves reflected back to ourselves. And there's also this idea that comes into like the female experience of this, that on our wedding day, we've got to be our best selves, right? We have to look our best, have our best style moment, have all of these details that really showcase our taste level and our intention and our style and our depth and our love and our relationship and how much it means to us. Like all the things we seem to want reflected in the details and look and feel of our wedding. And that's really tough to accomplish with all of the factors that I just listed before, but also those things are tough to pinpoint, most especially when we're feeling in flux and we're feeling in change. And we want to feel like, oh, it's just a natural progressive path and I'm taking one step and then the next step and the next step. But that's not how change works. It's very cyclical. It's very messy. There's a lot of upheaval and we do not make space for that in the conversation. And that's what I really want us to make space for, that feeling of confusion and overwhelm and discombobulation, because it is at its core an identity change. Not that it's a bad one, but like I've said, any change, even if you Pinterested and prayed for it, is going to be tough and it's going to be messy and there's going to be really hard parts. And I think that's my big like reminder for you today, is that don't think, oh, I'm just some frivolous person who's getting all caught up in the details. You're getting tripped up because you're tapping into that deeper sense of identity that's happening. Not to mention, I want you to remind yourself to locate yourself within the systems and the structures. You know, I got my degree in sociology and my master's in social work. And so just locating your personal experience within the broader context is so, so important. And to not see that the wedding industry is its own special capitalist concoction that is meant to bombard you, make you want more, make you second guess, so that then you do more and then you do more. And that's what it is. We don't need to like completely, there's an abundance to it. There's a beauty to it. I love a lot of the wedding industry. I really, really do. And then there's the part where it can become its own crazy making vehicle because it just keeps giving you more options and more things and more ideas, which is then going to make you feel like the decision you made yesterday is going to be screwed up tomorrow when you see the latest and greatest thing that came out. Just knowing that's part of the process, is that like, oh, it's okay that I'm always going to be second guessing my decisions, not only because I'm in this sort of state of flux and change and I have all of these constraints of time and money and family and circumstance, but also I am probably consuming in my feeds on Instagram or TikTok or wherever, in my conversations with friends and family, my eyes are always just looking at wedding world. And so I'm always going to be seeing other options. So there's always going to be other things I could have chosen. And that's always going to make me second guess. And so it's really important to give yourself a ton of grace and knowing that this can be imperfect and it can feel funny and there can be friction, but that it can also be okay. It can be so important to just realize that you can both pick something that you love and you're excited about and also feel like you wish you could pick this, that, and something else that you haven't even seen yet. And that you can celebrate that and not punish yourself. So many women are like, oh, I just need to get it right. And I need to research more and I need to stay up later and I need to like get more in touch with like who I am and what this moment says about me and what is my style and what, but like, it's almost impossible because you've got so many things. You've got the wedding industry and social media and your friends and your family and your in-laws and your past self and your future self. And there's all the things and you're at the center of this storm. And so there's no way to get it right, but there's also no way to get it wrong. And I think that is the takeaway message is that like, let it be messy. Let there be two things. Let it be like, I picked something, but I also could have picked out all these other things. And this is a part of me, but it's also not all of me. My wedding doesn't have to. It's a moment in time. It doesn't have to be the moment in time. It can be really special without being perfectly perfect. It doesn't have to be this idealized version of yourself. It can just be like, oh yeah, when I got married, these things were happening in my life and these were my priorities and this was my focus and I'm going to own it and I'm going to have my own back and I'm going to understand that like I can lean into these details and express myself as a bride and myself as part of a couple and my family and my heritage and my town, whatever it is that you want to sort of express your love of food or your love of a certain place. If you're doing a destination, like there's so many things that you can communicate, but that you don't have to communicate all of you. It doesn't have to be like, this was who she was. And then a picture of you on your wedding. I just think that is how a lot of the narrative is set up. And so if we can sort of just like take that down a notch, it's going to help you so much be able to decide on your details with a lot less drama, just knowing, oh, it's never going to feel perfect. And it's never going to feel like this exquisite, beautiful version of myself in a wedding form. No, it's going to be, oh, me at this time in this place with these people, with these constraints. This is what I went with. I think that is just such a different way of approaching it. There's no getting it right. And that is like the best news. So then it's like proceeding with just a ton of space and grace to let yourself make decisions, own those decisions, know that second guessing it can be part of it, but we're not going to beat ourselves up about our decisions and our details because this is the work. Again, it'll come back to like, can I be kind to myself, to my family, make choices that like I can stand behind and just be able to show up for your wedding day, not again, criticizing all of your decisions that you made, not being embarrassed or annoyed about some of the details and just enjoying it and being like, oh, I remember when I decided on that invitation and now I'm seeing it printed a couple months later. I would have chosen something different. No, it's fine. It's good. A part of me loved it and we're going to go with it and keep moving forward because it's a one-way street, this whole game of life. So I hope that this sort of helps you. Just if you are finding yourself mired down in the drama of making decisions about the details, remember that these details are triggering something different, and that is your identity that is in full flux right now. And that is a part of this. I don't care who says different. That is a big part of that. That's the underlying cause of stress and tension. So give yourself a ton of grace to navigate this, knowing that like you're actually going through something on an emotional, psychological level so much deeper than how it feels of like, why can't I just choose the right flowers for my bouquet? Like why, right? There's something deeper that's going on. And so let yourself be in touch with that without freaking out about that. So I hope this is helpful. If you need more, if you want to process this in your own kind of way, reach out today for your own bridal session, just you and me on the phone for an hour that will give you so much insight and clarity, confidence and joy as you walk towards your wedding day or process it after the fact. A lot of brides call me after just to be like, what the hell just happened? So no matter where you are, I'm here for you. And until next time, I am wishing you nothing but bridal bliss.